Battlefield Earth. Now, I've had this series about the worst films of all time, and I've been saving this one for quite a while. This will not be the full review because that would take hours and hours to go through just how awful this film is on so many levels. It almost has no redeeming factors. It is bad costumes, the acting's okay, but the plot and story are nonsensical. The script is very low quality, and just the cinematography, very uncreative. It's just action scenes are they're very terrible too. It has almost nothing to say for itself on the various levels, whether horror, science fiction, action. Not dull. I actually found it passable enough in terms of pacing, but really it is not going anywhere. So what the hell is this thing? Well, essentially it's the monster brainchild of L. Ron Hubbard, who originally wanted to film it himself but passed it on to others. They were going to try to do it in the 1980s, but then John Travolta joined Scientology, became very dedicated as a Scientologist, and saw Star Wars, unfortunately. He's like, we've got something in Scientology like Star Wars, Battlefield Earth. And so he dedicated himself to making the project, and good or bad, you gotta at least admire his persistence, because the studios did not want to make this for good reason, because there's really no there. It's an incredibly simple and not very interesting science fiction parable. Essentially, we're in the year 3000, some dictatorial aliens called the Psychlos. And by the way, the names don't matter. Nothing matters here because it is so thin. I mean, we have a protagonist called Good Boy. Yes, the protagonist is actually called Good. And he's facing the evil, sinister aliens who really, at least in the novel, and to be fair, I didn't read the whole thing because the thing is unreadably bad. It is just not a good novel either. Though, the novel is like 1,000 pages, so at least it gives you a little bit more with the plot that makes it more cohesive. The aliens should look more monstrous. Instead, they look like big Rastafarians for whatever reason. So they just look silly and not intimidating. But essentially, these big aliens have enslaved humanity, but it's been so long that humanity doesn't realize it has advanced weapons. Basically, Johnny Goodboy accidentally discovers the old technologies and tries to revive the rebellion. But obviously, they win at the end, blah, blah, blah. But it is so dumb and fascinating. That's really the only reason to see this. It has some fun 1990s iconography because, again, they're technically in the far future, but we can sort of see the old technology. That's a little fun little gag that they have. That's about it. For the most part, it is pretty awful. I mean, it's just, there's nothing here. It's like, okay. Like, there's one scene where the good guy has his gun on John Travolta and is like, gives the gun over to John Travolta. And he's like, that's right. You're a man animal. I'm superior to you. I'm John Travolta. I'm Scientology. I'm clear. I'm Tom Cruise. What do you think you're doing? It's like, what? The whole story could have just ended there, but it's like, no. We got to drag it out. So it is very paint by numbers. Like, the rebellion happens. The humans win. And whatever the aliens, I think it's Krell or Traj or Trell or whatever, apparently he's imprisoned in gold. So what is the real story? Well, I think really it's the propaganda thing, because this is not going to work as a movie or even as trying to be a story. It is just straight out propaganda. And to be fair, the screenwriter did not even want to do the script. He was just forced to do it. So it's just an entire mess. So the real story apparently is the Psychlos are stand-ins for psychologists. Yes, that's right. L. Ron had a big thing against psychologists. So psychologists, bad. So they're also greedy, because gold is very valuable in the universe again. Okay, it's always valuable. Gold is very... Anyway, okay, so the psychologists want the gold. They're hoarding the gold. They're basically like evil Nazi people. So I guess, metaphor is the evil aliens are trapped in gold. And humanity will rebuild the new civilization with L. Ron Hubbard, Scientology. No gold and no psychology. That's literally the real story. L. Ron hates gold and he hates psychology. Ergo, John Travolta looks like Rastafarian. It really is only to be looked at just to laugh at it. It is so insanely stupid on so many levels. It is just laughably bad. But it is a little sinister. I think John Travolta himself is a good guy, but clearly this was meant to recruit millions of people to Scientology. It failed miserably, so good, it didn't do any harm, but it is still a really fascinating look at how Hollywood and politics and cult fascism mix together and produce really bad propaganda films.